Hi everyone, Sensei Victoria Whitfield here for your weekly love letter message. And I've been speaking with the energy, asking spirits, what do my people need to know this week? And specifically, they came to me to say that we need to discuss time. These days, do you feel like you're always in a bit of a rush, or you're always pushing the clock, or showing up a little bit late to engagements, or showing up to work late often, or maybe in the day, as we've been talking about this a lot, how do you start your day? Do you keep trying to delay time, snooze button, or stretching out time, such as procrastinating? What's your relationship with time? But in particular, I want to speak to this feeling of being rushed, feeling like you're constantly rushed and feeling stressed out by your responsibilities, by your work, by your family, by friends, feeling like there's this outside pressures. Or go even deeper into that. Is the rushedness not even you? Could you be empathically feeling this sense of being rushed and being under a time crunch? I know we're in the middle of the summer, so it's a bit more of an easier pace in general, but Spirit's really having me speaking to the people who are feeling under a time crunch, even though it's this time of the year. So I'm looking at you, and I love you in this moment. So, as always, I like to pull a oracle card to get some extra channel guidance and input from the energy. Who we're working with this week is the Goddess Guidance Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. And what was interesting is that, you know how normally I pick one, two came out. Like they were kind of smushy together. They both had this feeling like both goddesses wanted to talk to you this week about time. So I'm going to start with the first one. Siege. Siege's card says, quiet time. Take some quiet time alone to rest, meditate, and contemplate. So, this goddess is appearing today for our conversation about time, because the first word is take. Take some quiet time. If you feel like your quiet time is being impinged upon, like you constantly don't feel like you have a sacred space, like when you go home it's just another barrage of things going on, or perhaps you come home to an empty home, so you create the barrage of things going on, such as going onto Facebook, going onto the TV, going on to just creating this sense of noise, right? Or even if it's not technology noise, it could be drinking noise, such as soon as you get home, glass of wine. That's how I'm going to unwind. And it just shuts down everything. Or reach for the cigarette. I used to smoke. I'm outing myself. Just want to out myself to be clear to you. I used to smoke, and the best thing about it was that it was a total emotional empathic shutdown. You inhale that cigarette, it's like a toilet flush for your emotions. Just forget about the health, the health hazards of it. The feeling that resulted from the cigarette was all important because I was suffering from empathic overwhelm, unbeknownst to me, but that was my way of dealing with it. Kicked that years ago by the grace of God and through my dedication to the energy. But that, at the time, was how I would create quiet time for myself, shutting everything out through my body. However, often people do this by shutting everyone out with their cell phone. Have you ever been to dinner with somebody and they're like, and you're across the table? That's so frustrating. Don't do that. If you do that, shame on you. Have some love and vulnerability with the person that you're across the table with. But anyway, staying on topic, you have to take quiet time for yourself. No one is going to give it to you, right? If you go by other people's schedules, their sense of time is going to crowd you out. So if reading is important to you, if running is important to you, if meditation, if Reiki is important to you, you have to take or create time for yourself, really, rather than waiting for someone else to give you permission. And Siege, the goddess, is really coming through to say that you need to take that time, and now is the time to go for it. As I'm telling you that, I'm feeling also the energy of the full moon coming, which is very, very emotional and a lot of energy there. So it may be that this week in particular, you're going to have to create a sense of quiet time. But I told you before, another goddess came through in addition to Siege, and that is Ishtar. So Ishtar, underneath her name, says boundaries. Love yourself enough to say no to others' demands on your time and energy. Now, there's no coincidences that both these goddesses came up when I was trying to pull oracle cards for you this week. It's just, there's no coincidence. It's amazing. It's really just, it never gets old. But Ishtar adds to this sense of taking time for yourself by blocking out time, having healthy boundaries. Now, if you're a sensitive person, or if you love to help others, for example, if you, in school as a little kid, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And you're like, I want to help people. And that beautiful part of you, that service-oriented part of you, continued through the rest of your life, so much that you are helping people 24/7, giving, and then over-giving. You're in prime time to learn how to give to yourself. And the first way is to learn how to say no with grace. The word grace itself needs to be a video. I just heard in the energy, so that's coming. But anyway, Ishtar is saying that you need to create boundaries so that you're able to have the quiet time that can really feed your spirit. Other people's schedules and all the responsibilities that you have run on their own sense of time, have their own seasons of high time and low time. But if you don't create boundaries for yourself, for your me time, someone in the energy said, what in the world is me time? Whoever said that, I love you, I'm here for you. Send me an email back if that was you saying that out in the energy, out in the overflow. So creating boundaries is a really difficult art, because you have to have the wherewithal to say, this is what matters to me and this is what matters to you, rather than constantly being open. In order to continue to give at the level that you want to, you have to have clear boundaries that keeps you feeling refreshed. If you're an empath, having boundaries is doubly important. It is absolutely paramount that you know where you end and everyone else and everything else begins. Because otherwise, you'll lose your sense of identity if you don't have clear boundaries. So, both these goddesses are coming through this week to really tell you that you need to take time and book it out. Clear blocks of time for yourself to invest in yourself, in your energy. Whether it's through Reiki and meditation, or if it's taking that vacation. You know, that vacation's not going to book itself. That Reiki session is not going to book itself. That comes from you, right? I mean, unless you set up, auto. It's not going to book itself. You have to set up the auto thing anyway, right? So I wanted to connect to you from my heart to yours specifically to talk to you about time because in my spirit, one big thing that changed the way that I work with time, rather than say looking at a clock to understand what time it is, understand this, that in quantum reality, time begins inside of you. It's not determined by the sun and where it's at in its, in its travel through the sky, or where the earth is in his orbit around the sun, right? Time actually is something that you create. That's why time can seem to fly by, like, oh my gosh, we're halfway done through the year, right? Time flew. Or you look at your child and then, you blink your eyes and poof, they're like this tall. And if it's a boy, his voice is deep. Whereas before you're seeing him like, pooping in his diaper and holding a sippy cup. Like, time can fly. Or time can drag on. Standing on the checkout line at the supermarket, it just keeps going and going, right? The reason why that happens, though, is all has to do with your emotional state and your energy. It's because you create time. So I want you to know that because you're stronger than you think you are. If you say, I don't have time for that, and insert whatever that is, fill in the blank, that is a decision that you're making. It's not reality because you can create time. Think of it this way. A mentor of mine always gives this wonderful example. Her name's Fabienne Fredrickson. If your loved one was over in California, gave you a call and said, oh my God, I just found this suitcase full of $100,000, but the directions say that you have to fly over here because like it has to take your thumbprint in order to open it. And there's apparently there's like directions inside for even more money, and it's all free. You just have to get here. $100,000. Or, if that doesn't mean something to you, let's up it to say $100 million. Would you make time? Suddenly you would have all the time in the world to jump up and fly over across the country to get to that, because you know what? That means a lot to you. It's another thing that shows that you create time. So don't let anybody waste your time, because feeling like you don't have time is always a decision. And I'm not trying to blame you for how your life is going right now. I'm trying to empower you and telling you this. The goddesses are really trying to empower you by saying, you can change this situation. You really can. Okay? So, tell me what's coming up around the issue of time and how you create it, how you need to take time for yourself and really need to create the boundaries with which you can take time for yourself. Do you already do that? Do you have any advice that you'd like to share with other people who are watching the love letters? I'd be super happy to begin sharing some of your responses on camera during one of the next videos. So that's it for this week's love letter. Mwah, love you lots, and I'll see you soon. Enjoy the sunlight. Please get outside and enjoy that vitamin D. Okay? All right, and I'll see you soon. Bye.